Hi, this is Anne with Graphic Design How To, and today I'm going to show you how to make a seamless rope brush in Adobe Illustrator. All right, let's get started. Okay, I'm here in Adobe Illustrator, and I'm just going to come over here to Create New. I'll come up here to Print, choose Letter, and then Create. Now first I want to make sure we have snapping turned on. So I'm going to come up here to View and Snap to Point right here. Make sure you don't have these other ones checked though. And we also want to have Smart Guides on right here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is hit M on my keyboard to get to the rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag a rectangle. Now I'm going to hit A to get on my direct selection tool. I'll select this point and this point. And I'm going to use my corner widgets, these little white dots with a blue dot inside, and just click and drag these as far as they'll go. Now I'll select the whole thing with my selection tool. I'll hit R on my keyboard to get to my rotate tool right over here. And then I'm going to hold shift and rotate it till I get to this rotation. So that's 135 degrees. Now I'm going to get on my G tool. Now G is actually a keyboard shortcut I set up for this, but it's the group selection tool. It's right under here, so G, may or may not work for you. Okay, so I'm going to get right on this point, and this is the snap to point part. So I want to make sure I'm right on that point. I'll click, I'll hold Shift and Option or Shift and Alt on a PC, and I'm going to drag until I get it to snap to this point right over here, and then I'll release. Now I'm going to hit Command Y or Control Y to make sure that that is exactly along this same line. And if it's not, you might want to use your increment tools to get it exact. But if you have Snap to Point on, you can just pull it away and then click right on the point and snap it to that other point. Okay, now I'm going to select both with my selection tool. I'm going to hit M to get on my rectangle tool. The reason I selected both is because I want to see the center points. I need to kind of move my mouse until I have this little pink line. That's a Smart Guide, and it's showing me that I'm right on that same point. I've got my M tool, which is my rectangle tool, and I'll click and drag, and then I'm going to do the same over here. It'll kind of snap to the middle, and you'll see that pink line. Now I'm going to hit Command Y or Control Y to get back. Now I'm going to select the two rope sections, and I'm going to get rid of that fill. We'll get back on the outline, and I'm just going to increase the stroke a little bit until I think it looks nice. So we got something weird going on here. I'm going to double click the word stroke in my panel, and I'm just going to use rounded cap and corner. And that'll give us these little points right here. I'll select my rectangle, and I'm going to make it no fill and stroke. You can just click on each one of these and then hit the little none. But you can also do the backslash key and then hit X to get the other one in front, and then hit backslash to clear that out. Now we need to expand the fill and stroke. So I'm going to come up here to Object, Expand. We'll want to do both fill and stroke and say OK. Now I'm going to come over here to my Pathfinder. By the way, if you aren't seeing these windows, they're right up here under Window. So you can find Pathfinder there. Then we'll come down here to Divide, and everything is divided out now. It doesn't really look like it, but it is. So now I'm going to hit Shift M to get to my Shape Builder tool, and I'll hold Option or Alt, and I'm just going to get rid of all the pieces out here like this. So now we're just left with this, but I also need to get rid of these little pieces in here. Now we have kind of a Z shape, and you can see that it still has overlaps. So let's go ahead and get back on our Shape Builder tool, hold Shift, and just drag a box across everything. That'll probably make a no fill and no stroke, so go ahead and color it black again. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Now this is going to make a pretty big brush, so I'm going to just get on a corner and just pull it in like this, maybe to about here. Now if you're not seeing your bounding box, these little handles, you can hit Shift Command B or Shift Control B on a PC. Now we'll want to actually make our brush. So to do that, I've got my brushes panel up here. You can also find that under Window if you're not seeing it. I'll click and drag my brush right into the brushes panel, and I want to make a pattern brush. So we'll say OK. And you can see our result here. We can change the corner, auto sliced, auto in between. I'm kind of liking that one a little bit better. If we want our brush to be able to be recolored, we can choose colorization method of tints right here. and we'll say okay. So here's our new brush. I'm going to hit B on my keyboard and I'll just draw a line, and now we have our rope. We can also just make a circle with our L tool, that's the circle right over here, and click the brush and you'll get a result like this. Now if your rope crosses back over itself, because it doesn't have a fill, you'll be able to see through it, which maybe isn't the greatest result. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's say we wanted to just draw a shape that goes back over itself. You can see right here that we have kind of an issue where we can see through the brush, and let's say we don't want that. I'm going to click and drag my pattern brush back out. I'll zoom in on that, and if we hit Command Y or Control Y, we can see this box. Now I actually want to leave this box alone, but I'm going to make a copy of it with Command C or Control C. I'll click off and then I'll paste in front, and I'm going to make this yellow. I'll send it backward with Command left bracket or Control left bracket. I think I'll delete this corner for now, and I'm going to select both my yellow shape and my black part. I'll hit Shift M to get on my shape builder tool, and then I'll hold Option or Alt and I'll just delete these pieces outside. So now we're sort of giving our rope a fill color, and I'm going to go ahead and just make this gray. I'll double click and we'll just change that to this gray color and say okay. Okay, so now we have a filled brush. Okay, so now I'm going to just select this, hold Option, and drag it right over this section. You can leave the corner alone, but this section you'll want to replace, holding Option or Alt and dragging your new brush on top of it. And you can see what happens now. So we'll say okay. And now it's going to want to apply this new brush to all the strokes that already exist. So we'll say Apply to Strokes. And now we can see what happens when it crosses over. Since it's not transparent anymore, you get this effect, which is more of what we want. Now if I click on this and change the stroke color to, let's say, green, we'll have this effect where we have a light green and a dark green, and this really depends on what shade of gray you're using in your brush. If you want a darker green inside your rope, then go ahead and make a darker gray inside your brush. So that's how to make a rope in Adobe Illustrator. Alright, if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, just hit the subscribe button and the little bell next to it and you'll be notified every time a new video comes out. Alright, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you!